Hello folks, it's Chris in Arena Recording Studio with another quick video for you. Today I'm going to be talking about a little bit of kit that I've purchased. And the kit is an 1176 clone. It's the Klark Teknik 76 KT. Now I've been looking at all sorts of reviews over this piece of, it's a really cheap bit of kit. I mean, I got this for £249. And I wanted to try it and put it into the studio and integrate it. Now I've seen this kit in world-class studios down to home studios. Now YouTube gives it a lot of bad press. There's some really bad compelling reviews about this. Now before I go any further, I'm not getting any kickbacks. There's nothing from Klark Teknik for me making this review at all. It's just an open and honest opinion. So what I've done, I've actually integrated, it's actually in the rack in front of me there, so I can't show you the piece of kit, but hopefully I'll have put a picture on and you can see what I'm talking about. Now some of the reviews on the internet give this a really glowing report. Some of the reviews on the internet actually say it's the worst possible thing that you could ever purchase for a studio. Right, so my honest opinion, and I'm using this piece of kit now 6 days a week minimum. I'm using it for tracking, I'm using it for tracking vocals, I'm using it for tracking bass guitar, I'm using it when I'm mixing vocals and all sorts of stuff when I'm doing the hybrid stuff. Now my overall first impression of the Klark Teknik 76 KT is wow. For £249, this is an absolute bargain. Now some of the reviews and all this stuff on YouTube that say adds a lot of noise to the signal, not in my case. It's as clean as a whistle. I am totally blown away with this piece of kit. For me, it's a game changer. If you're looking for an 1176 clone, then the Klark Teknik for the money is an absolute steal. I also had a guy in the studio last week who's got a genuine 1176 in his studio, and he has got the Klark Teknik as well, and says he can't tell the difference. He's also got the Warm Audio Klark 76, Warm Audio 1176, sorry, and again he said it's very, very comparable. So he said for the amount that it costs, does the value depreciate for the difference in value from the top end stuff? He reckons not. Now my overall impression after using this for probably just about a week to 10 days is it's been absolutely great for tracking vocals. Granted, the majority of the times that I'm using this compressor is where I've just got a fast attack, fast release, about an 8 or a 12 to 1 ratio on it, and I'm just letting the vocal touch the reduction by about 2 to 3 decibels. That's how I'm using it. I'm just basically taming the big bits a little bit as I'm tracking the vocals. But then I go from that straight into my old TL Audio, what is it, 520, whatever it is. I need my glasses on to see, 521 I think, valve compressor, which I set to a slower attack and release time, and I just then do the genuine compression when I'm tracking anything with that as well. So it's a combination of the 1176 and the TL Audio. For me, totally blown away with the combination. It's as good as anything I've used in any of the top studios over the years. So really, I'm at a bit of a loss. Why do people put videos on there really condemning equipment when it needs to be tried in all probably professional studio environments day in, day out? Now I'm sure there's somebody that's going to come back and have a real go at this, what I'm saying, but for me, you can buy UAD stuff which I run in the studio. Some of the plugins are more expensive than the actual hardware of the KT, Klark Teknik 76 KT. So it's if you're going to buy a plugin, you might as well try the hardware. And I think what's impressed me with it is all the controls, the knobs, they're all very linear when you turn them. There's no stickiness. It just feels a substantial product for the money. And I've really pushed, when I've mixed, I've really pushed this quite hard. And it sounds really quite smooth to me with the other compressors that I use when I'm throwing them in series on vocals. It really has made a difference to things. And it's made the process a lot quicker for me as well, because I've always been a fan of tracking with effects as I go in, compressors and EQ and things like that. It was just how I did it in the old days, really. It's how we all did it. It was, you didn't have the luxury of slapping things on and processor powers in computers when it was all tape and reel-to-reel stuff. So you just kind of tried to get the best signal as you could. So I still work with that old mindset mentality, which is probably why, for me, the Klark Teknik 76 slots into my era and my style of music production and recording. So I'm not saying it's going to be the answer to everybody, but if you're looking for something that's going to be cheap, inexpensive, like I say, to add an addition to, and it's hardware, and you want to track through it maybe, or mix with it, and you're just looking at caressing, you know, I mean, I suppose the more I would drive this, if I'm being honest, I've not tried the all buttons in mode yet. I don't tend to use that very often, but I will do. I'll try and get an update on this, and I'm going to see how I go with this compressor over the next 2 to 3, 4, 5 months, and then I'll do a follow-up review of it, and if I'm happy, then it'll be a big thumbs up. But so far, totally blown away with it. I think it's a great addition to the studio, and if I was mixing purely in the analog domain, I would probably look at some point of maybe getting 6, 7, 8 or even 10 of those and racking them up so that I've got a nice compressor on every channel on the way in. But I tend to do a little bit in the box as well as hybrid now, so it's not necessary for me to do that. But that's something that I would seriously have looked at. That's how impressed I am with this piece of kit. So all this, where people say it adds a lot of extra noise to the signal, not in my case. I'm not finding this at all. So I don't know how you've got this set up or what you've done with it to create these issues that you say you're having with the Klark Teknik KT76 or 76 KT or whatever it is. But for me, very, very impressed. I'm going to go. I've got to have a cup of tea and I've got things to do. So I just thought I'd give you a little quick upside into how I've been developing my relationship with this compressor. And it's a big, massive thumbs up from me. It's worth checking out. And for £249, you're not going to get stung really there, are you? I think you'd be pleasantly surprised if you got one and it was an addition to your home studio or your pro studio or project studio. So as always, from me, Chris, stay safe, stay well, and keep on rocking in the free world.